Hey, actor friends, it's Michael Kostroff. There was no video last week because I was under the weather, so don't panic. I think we've got the technology working now that gets the video to you. Um, I feel like we are always looking for language to help describe or communicate how we do what we do. Which is why I always love an analogy, or I love just a mental picture, because we're talking about something that exists in the ether. Acting. It doesn't. You can't touch it, or use it to cut bread, or or fix a flat. It's out there somewhere. So I like this sort of constant search for new terminology, new language. You never know what's going to land and help you with your work. So I was delighted when a student of mine shared with me an expression that comes from another acting teacher, Leslie Kahn. And I want to just preface this by saying this is like the game of telephone, I learned this secondhand. So if I've misquoted or misunderstood, feel free to let me know. Or Leslie, if somehow this video gets to you, feel free to let me know. But I love this expression. She will sometimes say to an actor, "You went to the character store." I couldn't love this expression more. And if I understand it correctly, what Leslie is saying is that you went and took an off-the-rack trope or an off-the-rack idea of a character and just prefab, pre-made, IKEA, you went to the character store. And as opposed to exploring, asking questions, finding the nuances, finding there's so much available to us when we cook at home. I've been going to the character store. Or we sew our own clothes. I'm taking the analogy too far now. That's what I do. But you know what I mean. I think we go, oh, it's a lawyer, so it must be this kind of person, or it's a mom, it must be this kind of person, or it's a doctor. And we just go right to these cliches. One of my favorite parts that I ever played was on The Blacklist. I had this arc as a detective, and the director, Andrew McCarthy, yes, the Brat Pack Andrew McCarthy, said, every time we see a detective, he's hard-bitten and tough and intimidating, because we have never seen the guy who just has a passion for justice and a heart for it and just wants to see the right thing done. I was like, you're right. And so every time I would start to go to the character store, he'd be like, it doesn't have to be that. And it was a lovely role. And again, it's something you don't normally see. We have these sort of just prefab ideas about what people are like, and people are very complex, very complex. I'm going to share something vulnerable with you. I'm generally known for being pretty nice, but at least twice in my life, I've been the monster. And in retrospect, it grieves me to my core. I had to make a lot of apologies, but I have been the monster. And when I say that, people go, "Oh, no, not you." It's like, no, I've been the monster. I've been the monster in the production. And I only share that to show how something so out of character for me can happen. Where does that come from? I mean, again, if we're breaking me down as a character, what's in the psyche that causes that anger or snippiness or rage or whatever to come out? So there's so much wonderful opportunity in characterization to look beyond what you've seen or heard in the past. And this is not to say you got to make it different. Be different. If you're a mom, don't be a loving mom, because we've seen that. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, don't go to the character store. Work a little harder. It's more fun. I really always encourage my acting students, to develop great curiosity. That's the fun part, since we're probably not going to get hired to play the damn part. The curiosity part, when we're working on something for class, or working on something for an audition or a casting director workshop, the curiosity about, what else is going on here? What else might be going on? And in my classes, we're getting very excited about that lately. We're sort of nerding out over one of my favorite things that I say to my students. What else could it be? What else might be going on? Let's explore that. And then if it's not something that fits at all, then we throw it out. But a lot of stuff goes on in people's minds. I hope that percolates you, or what is it Larry Moss says? Carbonates you, and gets things going in you that inspires you to be a little bit more curious, and a little bit more individual in this person in this scene is not the same as another character in another show with the same profession or circumstances. You know, there are people who are glad to be homeless. There are people who are sad to be wealthy. You know, there are people who have like me, I guess some hidden anger issues. You know, so the characters are wonderfully complex, as are people. So. I can't wait to hear what you think about all this. If you're getting these videos again, if you don't mind doing me a favor and just letting me know, if you've already let me know, that's fine, but I'm concerned that the whole list is still not restored. So it helps if you let me know. That's all. Don't go to the character store. You're missing a whole lot of adventure there. And I'll talk to you next week about other things. All right.